I would say I had my most ideal reading month in January, and let me tell you why. It is because I had the perfect mix of reading single issue, quick, current art from my local comic book shop. I had a knockout month of reading my physical TBR shelf, 4 books that I already owned and haven't gotten to yet, but were excited to read. 4 less books on that physical pile. And then I also utilized my local library and revisited a few things and found new things that I'm excited to go and find more of out at my library and the local comic shop. I started my month with The Personal Librarian by Marie Benedict and Victoria Christopher Murray. This is a duo that wrote The First Ladies. I read that maybe 2 years ago and truly loved it. It is so interesting to me how seamlessly this is written by 2 people. I would love to go find like maybe an interview or something and learn about their process because it's seamless. Like the only other thing I can think of where I've read 2 authors in one book like this is This Is How You Lose the Time War, and that is so clearly 2 authors passing the book back and forth to work on it that it's really different than this. Your main character, Belle, is Black but passing as white, and this is about her success and her career as JP Morgan's first curator of his art and book collection. And it is about Belle like going through life and trying to, you know, reason with herself that her success is okay even though it is like hidden or shadowed or she's not being honest about who she is, and knowing that she wouldn't have her success if anything was different, and knowing that her success would be erased. And so that is just truly powerful and tough to read, but also really has you rooting for her. You're jumping from like 1905 to 1950 over the course of this book, and it is such a like intimate peek at 50 years that you don't realize that much time is passing. And it's a really cool chance to follow a main character who's just passionate about the thing that they love, which is probably something you love, books and art, if you're reading, you know? Next up, I wanted some queerness in my month, so I went and I picked up Late Bloomer by Maisie Eddings. We got a new bookstore in my town. It's specifically a romance bookstore, but they have an LGBTQIA plus section, which is huge, and I didn't expect that with where I live, so I'm just like thankful. And when they opened, I went in and I wanted to go buy a book to support them, especially when I saw that they had a queer section, so I picked up Late Bloomer. I've not read Maisie Eddings before, but I have been a lover of Jennifer Prince art and Jennifer Prince book covers for a while now. This is following a main character who buys like a failing flower farm as a fresh start for herself, and then the other character who is very tied to that farm because it used to be her family farm. It feels slightly immature, but I also think that that is kind of like a canon event to queerness, right? Like sometimes we are a little bit behind our friends and whatnot because we didn't get to experience these things on the same timeline as a lot of other people. And so I think this is kind of handling that, but at times can feel a little bit immaturely written. It is clearly like that enemies to lovers trope, so if that is your jam, you will probably love this. For example, Maisie Eddings might have to get the award for the most creative, oh shoot, there's only one bed situation that I've ever seen happen, and she just really went all out on the circumstances that led to that situation. And it's about found family, and it's about choosing those who choose you and all of that kind of stuff, and it's like giddy and happy and cute and floral, and you know, like it is just like if spring was a book, it might be this. Next up, it was my turn this month to pick for my book club with a few of my friends, and I went for A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking by T. Kingfisher. This is definitely more like middle grade. Your main character, Mona, is 14 years old, and she is running her family's bakery basically because she has a special power to manipulate bread. In her society, people are lucky to have magical powers, and they range from bread control to mind control. It's just truly the roll of the dice on like how useful your power will be. She's maximized hers, she's learning how to do it, she loves it. And then society decides to become scared of wizards and others with power. And so you have to see this 14-year-old girl who is very grounded and very optimistic battle with the fact that sometimes you have to take doing the right thing into your own hands, even if there were safeguards above you that should have, you know, stopped the bad thing before it got to you. I was picturing every single scene, every single setting so clearly, and I truly loved it. I thought it was a really, really fun read. It's obviously a quick read because it's just a little bit shorter. It's not necessarily a shorter book, but it's a fast pace, and so you can knock this out, and I'm really excited to see what my friends think about it. As for what I'm currently reading, I've got Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. I've watched the show. I watched the show so long ago that I don't really remember everything, but I remember like the themes. So I'm having a blast reading the book. I think that this is obviously a case where like the book is better than the show, but the show is still going to have been good in the end to me. Like I will like them both, but I think I will for sure end up enjoying this better. Just the description and like the characterization that you're getting as you read this post-apocalyptic story, especially like removed a little bit from COVID. This is a copy that I found on a trip in a used bookstore, and it is so lovingly broken in that I've had the freedom to like throw it in my backpack, read it on the bus, and I'm just like reading it out and about, and I'm taking it with me places in a way where I don't have to worry about it, and I think it looks very cool. But that's also kind of freeing, and I love reading a story that you can tell somebody else loved. That just adds like a little special extra element to the reading experience for me. So I'm having a great time with this, and I'm gonna read it going into February because I'm not even quite halfway. Then we've got quite a few comic books. I read many single issues this month, but I want to talk about my favorite 3. Firstly, Everything Dead and Dying issue 5 came out this month. This is a short series where this is the final conclusion. So there are only 5 issues in this, really manageable, and like a trade collected edition should be coming out relatively soon. I would recommend this to quite literally anybody. You're following a man who is living his life as if it were normal, despite the fact that his family and his community have all turned into zombies. And you have outsiders come in and they're trying to tell him how to live his life differently. And so you're following a main character who's just really grappling with the fact that the world has changed and he can't necessarily do what he would like to do, but he's just doing what he needs to do to keep going. Life sometimes has to steer itself, but this is just so cared for emotionally that you cannot help but feel every single thing that your main character is feeling throughout this. And it's such a creative use of time within the panels. I just think that while I am sad that it was only a 5-issue series, I'm kind of proud of the fact that it is just like a small, complete work that you can just really dive into and notice every single detail about. If you never touched a comic book in your life, I think it would still be really good intro, and it's doable. I'm really loving this because Stephanie Phillips is who's going to be on the new Daredevil that comes out this spring. I think She-Hulk is like very inspiring in the same way that I really like Spider-Man. She's all about like honor and justice and, you know, like doing the right thing by people. And so you're seeing her fight like villains big and small, but also like powers big and small throughout this. It's only on issue 3, and I think it's really attainable to probably go find 1, 2, and 3 and start reading. Having a blast, having so much fun with this series, and the art in here too. And then the humor is really there despite the bigger themes. Blood and Thunder issue 9 came out this month. Not many people are talking about this or reading this. I've never seen anybody else at the comic book store pick it up, and I will champion this till the day it finishes, and probably after, so maybe till the day I die. Your main character here is not a human. Pretty much nobody is human, and you are kind of led to forget that because she resembles a human, but then you are constantly reminded that she is not human and she's not dealing with humans. And it's just very fun. Like, the world is built cool and the characters are unique, and it's just a big glimpse at society and systems and institutions. I'm having so much fun with the adventure element in here. And then the art, but also my favorite thing about this is that your main character, Blood, she is crass and she is courageous, and that is a really cool combo to see. Reminds me a lot of Winona Earp, one of my favorite characters ever. I picked up 2 trades that were like revisits. One was Daredevil at Bay. This is Mark Waid's run, first volume. I wanted to pick up a Daredevil because I wanted to kind of like refresh myself on him as a character before the new series comes out. This is him in San Francisco, so a very, very different setting than we are used to, as opposed to like his New York self. I'm having fun with this. Like, this is a good time. I will probably continue reading it, and I want to go finish finding the rest at my local library. But he's such a unique character, and he's grounded in a lot of the things that I like with She-Hulk or Spider-Man, but then he is still like uniquely himself. So this, I think, is a good story to be kind of reading and preparing myself for the future Daredevil content, because I think it's so different. Like, it's not going to be comparing apples to apples when that new one comes out. So as long as I keep enjoying this, I'm going to keep reading it. But yeah, Daredevil, Devil at Bay was a really fun read this month. Then I also picked up the first volume of Batman's Court of Owls. This is something that I dipped my toes into, I think is a really fair way to say it, because I read like next to no DC, and this has me wanting to go pick up the compact that has the full story in it. And I'm also right now in time very, very jealous of everybody who's been loving the Absolute Universe, because with the Marvel Ultimate Universe ending, those people still have something to love in the Absolute Universe. So I think this could pull me over to the DC side of things, and that I would love to start getting into Batman and Wonder Woman particularly. And I think this will be, you know, the thing that lures me in. And it is so dark, but it is so interesting to me how the city is as much as a character as anybody else is in here. This was also my introduction to Nightwing. I've seen so many people like just absolutely standing Nightwing lately, and I had no idea like who he was or where he came from. And this was a little introduction, so that was kind of fun. Maybe I'll become a Nightwing fan too. I don't know, but this was very different for me because I'm very much on the Marvel side of things. Speaking of, I picked up Kraven's Last Hunt. I was introduced to Kraven in the current Ultimate Spider-Man run, and I was like, I need more of that. So I went and picked this up, and it is such a great reminder that you can go and find like a slice of life within an overwhelmingly huge series, right? Like, this is just a chunk of an old period of Amazing Spider-Man. And like, it's fine. You don't have to read in continuity. Like, you can go pull out these individual stories and get a better understanding of a character you like. And you don't have to start at Amazing Spider-Man #1 and catch up to 1000. Like, you can go find the isolated story, and I promise you it will be okay. It will be okay. This had some parallels to what I feel like we're currently reading in Amazing Spider-Man, and that it's like almost like a stolen identity of Spider-Man is really, really like high up between these two things, and like a parallel I was noticing. And it had me thinking about like, how are people replicating spider suits? Like, when you steal Spider-Man's identity, like, it is because you have stolen his suit, but like, how are people getting their hands on these perfectly fitted spider suits? Question I have. Lastly, I went and I picked up Stumptown at my local library. This is volume 2 by Greg Rucka and Matthew Southworth. This is like a dark and gritty, badass woman who is a PI, and it is in Portland, Oregon. As somebody who's grown up and been around the Pacific Northwest a lot, I love this setting. It's so recognizable. Like, there's a concert venue in here that I've been to, and I think that is really fun to read. This is unique in that I'm reading a lot of heroes, and if I'm reading something that's not a superhero, it's not necessarily a normal person or normal situation. And this series is just kind of like almost slice of life compared to the other things that I'm reading. And I'm having a good time with it, so I will keep going. It's also very, very reminiscent to me of like Jessica Jones, and I really, really like her, and I think she's about to have a big year this year too. So maybe this is kind of sparking a Jessica Jones reread for me, not sure. So I think it is safe to say that I had a really good January, and I hope that this is like an indicator of how the rest of my reading year will go. I just want to say that I think it is so important to support local, support your community, read with one another. Like, that is what we're all doing here when we're reading and we're sharing, and it is something that I've leaned into so much lately and been really, really grateful for the creators that I watch, the authors that I follow, and like the people who are granting me access to all of these things. So like the workers that I'm familiar with at my local comic book shop, and the librarians who help me check out my books, and the staff at my local bookstore who open new bookstores and help me find things to read. And you know, like, it is just so much fun to lean into the community that is so focused on telling the story of people. And I've been thinking about that so much as I've been reading this year, January. I've been thinking about all of that so much as I've been reading this month, and I just am so grateful to be able to consume stories and meet people and lean into this community. So I hope that you're enjoying that too, and I will see you in February.